Hi, it's Katie from Katie Cooks and Crafts, and today I'm making pretzel rolls. These are really fun and delicious, and it's also part of a bread collaboration, so be sure to check out the other videos in this collaboration. Allison in Mommyland is making Kaiser rolls, and Margaret Beeler is making pita bread. So that's 3 new bread recipes for you this week, and 2 new great channels to check out. I'll put all the links in the description box. To make the pretzel rolls, I'm going to start with 1½ cups of warm water. And to that I'm going to add 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast. That's the same amount that comes in the little packets if you're going to use the packets. And my yeast is fine, so I don't bother proofing it, but if you're not sure about your yeast, go ahead and proof it. To that I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar and 2 teaspoons of salt. Next I'm going to start adding the flour. Altogether I'm going to add 4½ to 5 cups of flour, but I'm just going to start with the first 2 cups. And I almost forgot it in the microwave, but make sure you're adding 2 ounces of melted butter or margarine. Once I have that all in the bowl, I'm going to just stir it up and give it a quick mix, just making sure the salt and the sugar and the yeast is getting dissolved and evenly distributed. And you're going to have a really wet, runny batter. I'm just going to add the rest of the flour a little bit at a time. So add a little flour and mix it in completely, then add a little more flour and mix it again. Soon your wet, runny batter will turn into a proper dough. And at some point I'm going to abandon the spatula and just use my hands. And I'm going to knead this by hand for 8 to 10 minutes or until it's smooth and elastic. Now this dough is dense and sticky, so even after 10 minutes of kneading, it's still a little bit sticky and it's not going to spring back the way a lot of bread doughs will. But as long as it's smooth and elastic, it'll be fine. If you're not sure, you can always call in an expert for a second opinion. She said the dough was fine, so I'm going to go ahead and move it into a clean container, and I'm going to oil my dough ball. And that's just going to keep it from the surface from drying out so you don't get little hard dried out bits in your dough. So I'm just going to drizzle the top of the dough ball with a little bit of canola oil, and then just toss the dough ball around just to smear that oil all over the surface of the dough. And I'm going to put this in my microwave to rise. I've showed this before, but I just microwave a little cup of water till it boils and steams, and then I will put the dough in with that cup of water, and I don't turn the microwave on, I just let it sit in that hot, steamy environment. And then as little as an hour later, it is nicely risen, just like that. And I'm going to turn this out onto my countertop. And a lot of times bread recipes will tell you to turn your dough out onto a floured surface and flour your hands, but this dough is pretty sticky, so it's really easy to add too much flour to it. So instead of flouring my hands, I'm just going to add a couple drops of oil to my hands, and that will keep it from sticking. I'm dividing the dough up into 9 equal portions, and I'm going to go ahead and start to form them into the roll shape. I'm going to start with sort of a hamburger bun shape, and I'm just making a round disc, and then I'm taking and pulling from the top and pulling it underneath itself and sort of pinching it. And if you watched my whole wheat hamburger bun recipe video, it's the same concept, just pulling a nice taut top, nice smooth taut top, and pulling it underneath of itself and pinching it. The only difference between this recipe and that recipe is this dough is softer and stickier, so you just have to handle it a little bit more gently. But this kind of roll is really great for hamburgers or any kind of sandwich, really. Ham makes a really good sandwich on these pretzel rolls. Like a ham and cheese sandwich, really good. So I'm going to make 4 of that shape roll, and with the rest of the dough balls I'm going to make sort of long skinny rolls, more like hot dog bun shape. But it's the same concept, just pulling the dough from the top, pulling it underneath itself, and sort of pinching along that seam. And these are great for hot dogs or bratwursts or Italian sausages or just about anything. So it looks like that. And each of these dough balls is about 100 grams of dough, and I measured them with my kitchen scale. I think that's a good amount because these are sort of dense and chewy, just like a good soft pretzel. You don't want a lot of bread in your sandwich, so you want a nice bread to filling ratio, and I think 100 grams is right on for that. But you can play around with it, make them larger or smaller. Or you could just make a few rolls, and with the leftover dough, just roll them out into long snakes and twist them up and just follow the rest of the directions and turn them into soft pretzels. So once all of my rolls are shaped like that, we're going to move over to the stove top to make an alkaline bath. And that's just a scary term that means baking soda and water. So that's 8 cups of water and half a cup of baking soda. And make sure you add your baking soda before the water heats, or else it will boil up and sputter and make a big mess. So just add the baking soda and stir it to dissolve. Then bring it up to a gentle simmer. And one by one, you're going to dunk your rolls in this baking soda water bath. So just turn them around, submerge them, splash the water up over the top so that all of the surfaces come in contact with that alkaline bath. And you're going to let them sit in that hot water for about 30 seconds each. Then just move them to your cookie sheet and give them some superficial little slits there. That's really about 1/16 of an inch or less, just really superficial slits. And those are mostly just decorative. Then I'm going to brush it with an egg wash. That's 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water beaten together. And just brush that all over all of the exposed surfaces to get a nice browning whenever we bake these. And a final optional step is to sprinkle them with a little bit of pretzel salt. For the other shape of the roll, it's the same procedure. So we're going to put them in the water bath, then give them a slit, this time just a simple X, egg wash all over the exposed surface, and then finally a sprinkle of pretzel salt. And really, I just put a little bit of pretzel salt to make them look cool. You really don't need the extra salt. Most fillings you're going to put in these rolls are salty enough, so I just put just a little bit to make them look like pretzels. Then they're going to go into a really hot oven. That's 450 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes. And you want to get them a nice deep mahogany brown all over. So you're going to want to rotate your pans halfway through. I have a convection oven and I still find it's necessary to rotate the pans. You can see how much browner the ones on the top rack are than the bottom rack. So halfway through, rotate your pans and then just let them brown until they're golden brown and delicious. Now that baking soda water bath does kind of make a mess on your stovetop, but it wipes up really easily with just a damp rag. When the rolls come out of the oven, they look like this. Beautiful. And you're going to want to let them cool completely before you slice them open and fill them with all of your delicious fillings. Or if you're making these as soft pretzels, you can eat them right out of the oven. They are delicious when they're freshly baked. So I'll go ahead and slice one of these open so you can see what it looks like. It's nice and chewy and dense and perfect. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you like this recipe. I'd love for you to give my video a thumbs up, and I'd love for you to check out the other recipes in this collaboration. You won't be disappointed. Go over, check out their channels and their videos, tell them I said hi, and we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.